John and Kendall. What's up? How are y'all doing?
Welcome to the John and Kendall Show
We
for
are so excited
Cheese of the Month Club.
to be with all of you, all of our members of this awesome program that we've been doing now for 12 years. It's been a passion project of ours to get to select really cool products for you to try month after month after month.
If this is your first month, welcome. We do these videos each time, which makes us a little bit unique from some of the other cheese clubs that are offered out there as we are talking through and tasting with you. Our team now, they want in on the action, so they're actually doing many of the videos too. So we just got to steal the opportunity today to jump in and talk about our March Cheese Club theme, which is winners at the American Cheese Society.
Woo!
It's a good one for us to steal.
This is a great one for us to steal, and we are, part of that is that Kendall and I, when we first opened in 2010, a part of our philanthropy and our give back plan was that at the point in time we didn't have much money, but we did have a little bit of extra time, and we wanted to give that back to the community that was supporting us, so Austin, and the industry that was supporting us, cheese. And so
specifically the American artisanal cheese industry or specialty cheese industry. So we made an intentional decision to get involved with the American Cheese Society. It's an international trade organization. And in fact, before we even opened the shop, you were one of the very first, we've told this story, but you would only have heard it if you've been, because we try to do all new themes, You would have only heard it if you've been a member for years now. But before we even opened the American Cheese Society annual conference and competition, it roams each year, and it was in Austin. What are the chances?
2009.
And so John started volunteering, and his goal was he didn't know what he was doing. You were super nervous, but you were like, I'm going to be the first one to show up and the last one to leave. And you actually worked yourself so hard that you ended up in the hospital that weekend, did not even get to go to the conference, but you worked the 5 days prior to the conference, receiving all the cheese. So, okay, I've jumped ahead.
We're so excited.
Let's break it down. There's the annual conference, but before that, traditionally has been the annual competition.
Judging and competition.
Judging and competition. And what's super cool about this is it's like, okay, for the laywoman out there, it's like a dog show. So you have your different breeds of dogs, and then you have your best of show. They do the same thing in the cheese world. So there's best goat's milk cheeses, best blue cheeses, best cheddars under this age, best cheddars over this age, best American originals. So there you have each one of your classes. You enter your cheese and whichever one you think it's going to do best and fits that description in that category. 2 judges judge it, both a technical and aesthetic judge. I mean, okay, John also chaired this committee. Would you like to talk about this?
No, I'm just loving the way you're describing
Well,
it.
this is how it got filtered back. Some of us were back running the shop, while some of us were off volunteering. I mean, you were really working.
Yeah,
you were actually volunteering.
I was blessed because that first volunteer opportunity in 2009 was with this committee, and so I came in as nobody really. We were just about to announce that we were going to try to open a shop in the next some time. Who knew?
They were like, "Oh, you're cute."
Yeah. And but what was pretty amazing is they welcomed me in, and we spent essentially the first 2 days receiving about 1,300 different unique entries, and so that could have been 25 little rounds of one cheese or one big wheel, and then taking the time to kind of like a giant library, catalog all of them and put them into refrigeration and take care of them so that the cheesemakers would be honored in a way that we wanted to honor them, which is that the judges, when the moment the judges cut into the cheese, it's exactly how the cheesemaker would have wanted it.
So it's a really laborious and intentional process to taste it at its perfect moment.
And so they put me in, because my background is a CPA, they ended up putting me in that sort of cataloging role, which meant living in a walk-in cooler for 4 or 5 days, building spreadsheets so that I could make sure that the amount of time required to come to room temperature was set for each cheese, and we were pulling,
which would be different for every one of these. So think of doing that for 1,300 cheeses. It's amazing.
And it was incredible. And I got to join that committee the next year as an actual member, and worked with some of the most amazing cheese people in the industry. I remember those early nights, staying late at 8 or 9 o'clock, and we would be tasting some of the cheeses that shipped a little warm, making sure that they still were at the right quality. I learned a ton. And afterwards, that competition and judging continued to grow. And we ended up around 2,000 cheeses years later when I was chairing it, with the goal of receiving all of those cheeses in one day, which we did, which was an astonishing feat. The volunteer team was amazing.
And like, there's a lot of loaded words here, and yes, we'll get to the cheese.
Yeah, we will.
But what does it mean to be receiving? Like, literally, it's coming off the trucks and in FedEx boxes, and you're taking it all. You got to take off all identifying information because it has to be judged anonymous.
Yeah.
Then immediately get it into the coolers, or some of them go into what's called triage. If they got too wet, if they got too damp, they're going to go into a hospital of sorts to figure out how to best care for them to bring them back to best health. You're cataloging them, as we said, and then so that's the receiving process. That's a lot. There's just a lot to that versus just like, oh, I received your cheese, you know.
And what's cool is that it's built around the Americas. So we actually had cheesemakers shipping from Colombia. We include cheese from Canada. So cheesemakers from this hemisphere get the opportunity to get really great constructive feedback from these expert judges, but they also get to win awards. And that led my path continued. In 2012, I was voted onto the board of the American Cheese Society, and eventually was the president and chairperson of the organization, which was
so proud of you.
Kind of in 2009 became a lifelong goal, and I guess I worked hard enough to achieve it within 9 years. So it's pretty amazing. The organization's incredible. We highly recommend following them and attending one of the conferences if you're as enthusiastic about cheese as we are. It's a great way to meet cheesemakers. And frankly, today we're getting to taste some of the finest examples of winners over the course of the last few years. It's something that we're really proud to showcase.
Yes, if we didn't mention it, and this is your first Cheese of the Month Club, each month we rotate between a theme, and it could be taste of place, so something that's geographically specific. It could be meet the maker, and so trying 4 or 5 cheeses from one specific maker. Or in this case, something we call one of a kind, but it specifically means we're gonna choose a title that we want, a theme, and then showcase beneath it. So that was why we chose all American Cheese Society winners. I think we should take them through it.
That sounds. Why don't I do the 2 that are in front of me? Does that
You
sound good?
have your plan, and I'll do whatever I want to.
That sounds fantastic.
This is how we run the business.
So, if you're eating all 4 cheeses at the same time, this would be the order that we probably want to lay it out based off just the way your palate experiences these different products.
And we're filming this before your menu is getting printed, so it may come in a different order, but we make the menu based off theoretical how we've had the cheese in the past, and then sometimes it shows up in artisanal cheese, like this is a younger batch. Oh, let's taste this in a different progression, specifically so that you get to maximize the flavor on your palate.
So this little beauty here is Trillium out of Indiana. This is a triple cream cheese. So this one in the category of triple cream. The American Cheese Society judging competition has over 109 categories of cheeses. So each one is judged based off of characteristics that would be expected and anticipated from a technical side, and then characteristics that are unique and to that cheese from an aesthetic side. And so this is a beautiful square cheese. We're getting half of a piece here. You can see there's a beautiful rind development happening with a cream line right around the edge. So a triple cream means that they've added a bunch more cream into the milk before they've actually made the curd. So it brings it as close to butter as you can possibly get, and it is amazing. And so this bit of rind, this Penicillium camemberti, is interacting with the chalky center, breaking it down and creating this sort of beautiful, rich, vegetal flavor profile. My recommendation with a cheese like this, if you always taste it first, try the chalky part by itself, then the cream line, then the rind, and then try them all together.
Yes, you can eat the rind. Be kind to your rind.
Yeah.
Try it. And then in the end, if you don't like it, don't eat it, but it is part of that cheese and will impart some great flavors to it.
My kids would inhale this piece of cheese right now.
They're probably, I've already fondled that piece, so they're probably going to be inhaling it.
Fantastic.
The perks of the job.
So that's Trillium. It's, Tulip Tree is an amazing producer, and we're lucky enough to be able to support them in this regards.
And out of all these, if you're having leftovers, you're going to want to eat this one the soonest. It's not going to age as well cheese never ages well in your fridge, but this is gonna age the least well in your fridge. So go ahead and gobble that one up.
Yeah. Second one here, this is actually a Colby. So Colby, this would be an American Original style. So Colby actually had its own category under the American Original section because it was designed here in the United States. Really rich tradition of Colby. So cheesemakers can have their own sort of interpretation. Chris here really wanted to like harken back to the old times that in his memories. So he had this taste profile that he wanted to recreate. Got this really beautiful orange coloring from a natto plant. It's a tasteless flavoring component.
Natural food dye.
But it's beautiful. And Colby has this very creamy texture. It's pliable. It's just a really beautiful cheese. If you've got some of this left over, grate it onto some beautiful toast.
Melt it.
Melt it over potatoes. Melt it in your hand and just eat it that way. It's so good.
This is clearly how we eat cheese.
I love Colby, and Chris is a master taster. So when he partnered with Hennings, he was aiming for this incredibly high quality, and they nailed it with the Robin here.
So you've got your bloomy rind, you've got your semi sauce. Then we're going to go to a firm/hard cheese, and this is from Shooting Star Creamery. Avery is the cheese maker. This specific cheese is called Aries. So it's our first sheep's milk and only sheep's milk. It's 100% sheep's milk. How many times can I say sheep in one sentence?
Sheep.
The incredible story about her. So we have long, since the day we opened, supported her dad, who's a cheesemaker, Reggie Jones, from Central Coast Creamery. We have a lot of his cheeses in our case. And so she grew up around him making cheese and making cheese with him. I think she started for fun when she was like 7 or 8. So fast forward to when she's 15 or 16, and she creates her own creamery called Shooting Star Creamery. Why? Because her dad taught her that you dream big and you can shoot for the stars. And then each of her cheeses are named after one of the zodiac sign, hence the Aries for this one. So this is made in an Alpine style. It's gonna be rich and nutty, even have this little caramely sweet note on the kind of pineapple finish. So try this one, and I don't know if you have caramel sauce with it, I would do that. We're gonna talk about some of our pairings in a minute. So this one also won the American Originals category. And again, the first year she made it and entered it in, and it won, and she was 15 or 16. Entrepreneurial much?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Not what I was achieving at 15 or 16. All right. And our last cheese, we're going to, made by Mike and Pablo, Firefly Farms. Mike is actually the current president of the American Cheese Society. This one is 100% goat's milk. So you had your cow, and your sheep, and your goat. Goat's milk is known for being tangy, minerally, bright, a little bit citrus zesty. This cheese is called Black and Blue, and it won the blues category. Remember that the way that blue cheeses get inoculated with that mold is that mold is already present in the milk, and then later they go back and pierce the cheese with needles. They're not injecting anything into it, but when that oxygen hits that mold, which is an aerobic mold, it allows it to develop that coloring, or what we call veining. So I just wanted to show you because you can see these beautiful stripes down, and that's from where the needle went in, and then that molding and veining developed. And if you look at the top piece from yours at home, you'll see those pinpricks of where the needles went in.
So beautiful.
So
beautiful.
4 amazing,
delicious American
award-winning American cheeses. And if you got the deluxe, just to tell you about a couple pairings.
So those of you that added the deluxe package, we have 4 delicious additions. You mind if I jump in?
You go first, honey.
All right. So this is Anduja. This is sort of a classic Italian staple it's a product that's designed to showcase the delicious fats and the leftover from like prosciutto making, in fact. And so this is Tempesta out of Indiana. Anduja is a spreadable salami. And so you want to cut into this casing.
We recognize this does not look very attractive. Take it out of this, and then it's spreadable.
And enjoy. You slice into this packaging and kind of squeeze it out of here. It's very spicy. Uses traditionally Calabrian peppers are one of the spiciest peppers on the planet from southern Italy. That gives it this incredible depth of flavor. But yet, this paired with any of these cheeses is going to be a real fun home run.
But I'm going to go, my favorite I think would be this one.
With the Aries?
Yeah.
Any leftovers here mixed into a mac and cheese, something like that, or an omelet in the morning. It's going to give you a big pep in your step.
But this you can spread on toasted baguette or toast points. But remember, it's supposed to be spreadable, and you spread it onto whatever you're eating. If you're skipping all the gluten and the carbs, just spread it onto a piece of cheese and eat it that way.
Eat it that way. Your second pairing we put together is the 73% dark chocolate from Dick Taylor. So this was my favorite bite of food in 2015, the first time I tried Dick Taylor's chocolate. We were the first company off of the West Coast, their home area, to buy this chocolate. Now you can find it quite anywhere else. I love the way that the salt brings out the nuances of the beans that they're using. With a bar like this, make sure you're exhaling out through your nose so you actually can pick up all those subtle aromas and flavor compounds that come through the.
And they have a great story. They went from crafting wood boats to crafting chocolate. And the chocolate, I know, who set this up? The chocolate will go with all the cheeses, but specifically 1, 3, and 4. And then if I had to choose one today, I'm going to go with number 1.
Perfect.
All right. So next up, we have made by Sherry and Round Rock Jelly Co. the Drunk Cherry Preserves. I would put these just right on. Again, this actually is going to go with any of them, but number 1 and 4. But I'm going to pair this one with the black and blue with the goat's milk.
I would play with it with the Colby.
Okay.
Today.
Well, the reason I was saving for the Colby. Is a good old cheese and crackers combo. So when I grew up, there was always a slab of yellow cheese out on yellow orange cheese and crackers, saltine crackers. And so to me, this is a really nostalgic pairing, except specifically in an artisanal manner. So these cold fermented sourdough project crackers are made locally. I got the 2 local products. This is Austin based by Jen and Danny. And so this one is heirloom wheat, with little pinches of sea salt on it, and you get those little cracks that you said. So if you want like a no fuss and just take you straight back, I would do the Colby. And of course, these crackers are going to go with anything. They have a great bite. They don't get stale or I don't know. They're just perfect as they are. And so putting these with the Colby is like, I got to do it. I got to get off so I can do it right now.
Perfect. Y'all enjoy. Those of you that did opt in for the wine selection, you'll get an amazing surprise at the retail shop when you pick up. And again, I just want to thank all of y'all for your support. As members, Kendall and I strive to live our mission to do good, eat good, and our core principles. And y'all help us do that and allow us to make a huge impact with our cheesemaker community and our community at large.
And we are specifically, I'm not too bashful or ashamed to ask, we are trying to grow our monthly cheese club program. So if there's something we could do better, or there's something you love about it and don't want us to change, please let us know. Send us your feedback of what works for you, what doesn't. We'll see how we can accommodate it. And the best thing, if you can tell your friends, that will help us out a lot. So we hope you renew. We hope you tell us what you like and what you want more of. And most importantly, we hope you enjoy these cheeses for our March monthly cheese club. Over and out.
Bye, y'all.